Good morning, guys. I know it's been a really hot minute since I last filmed a video. To be completely honest, since I last read as well, I think it's been like about a month or two since I last fully read a book, and that's really sad. But that is also because I've been really busy with school and other stuff. So I was in a really bad reading slump, probably the worst one in my life so far. But now that I've had, quite a bit of time to read again, I've been really itching to do another video and just to sit down and read. And what better way to do that than to do a 24-hour readathon, which is honestly always really fun. And I've only done one so far, but it's honestly just, in my opinion, a really great way to just read without any kind of interruption. So I do have a few lineups for the books that I am hoping to be able to get through in this video. So the first one I do have Throne of Glass, which I'm currently reading. It's Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I'm like almost finished with it. I have like a few pages left. I would say it's about like probably 1 hour ish reading time left. I've been honestly quite enjoying this so far, but I am excited to see where the story is going to go next. And after reading Romantasy, which is always great, honestly, Romantasies always get me in such a reading mood, which is so good. But I do feel like Romantasies are a bit hard to read in one sitting. So I do have a couple of other different genres that I am hoping to be able to read. I do have a few from my physical TBR. So the first one I have is You've Reached Sam by Dustin Thao. I think it's just about like it's just a romance, book that I'm hoping to get through, and it looks quite thin and not very long in my opinion, so I think it should be pretty good for this readathon. I also have The Unhoneymooners by Christina and Lauren. And for thriller, I do have a book, Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I have them on my Kindle here. And yeah, I'm probably going to be reading a lot on my Kindle because I feel like I just read so much faster when I'm on my Kindle. And I think it would be great for nighttime. And I definitely need a lot of thriller for this readathon. Thrillers are always so good at keeping me awake and keeping me wanting to flip to the next page. So I think I have Never Lied by Frida McFadden, and I'm not really sure, but I think I might also read this one, which is The Burning Girls by CJ Tudor. Honestly, this is like a very ambitious pile, I know, but hopefully I'll be able to get through at least most of this. I'm also probably might continue to the second book of Throne of Glass because I'm definitely gonna finish the first book in this video. So I also have Crown of Midnight here, but I don't want the whole video to just be about me reading the Throne of Glass series. So that's why I have a couple of different books to choose from. But maybe if I'm in the mood, if I'm itching to just read the next book, I might just pick up Crown of Midnight. I also have Rebel Witch by Kirsten Zuccarelli, which is the second book in the Crimson Moth series that I've been really wanting to read. I also purchased Fearless by Lauren Roberts yesterday. So I have so many books to choose from. It's gonna be so exciting. I'm gonna be doing this where I'm not really gonna like set a timer. I'm just gonna like, for example, I start at exactly 9 o'clock. Then I'm gonna end the readathon exactly tomorrow at 9 a.m. as well. So yeah, by the way, it's currently like 8:50, 8:45, almost 9. So I'm just gonna be like setting up my whole reading setup and stuff like that, and we'll start reading. Okay, so they kind of just did like some sort of like I feel like was supposed to be like a major plot twist, but I honestly guessed it right from like the start of the book. Like I don't know if it was supposed to be a really major plot twist or if we as readers were supposed to already see that from the start, but I generally did guess that plot twist from like the start of the book. The start of the book. The moment they showed like the first clue, I already guessed it. And so it's kind of like a little bit underwhelming in that sense for like the plot twist that they had in like chapter 41. So yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. It's weird. I don't usually guess plot twist in like murder mystery books and stuff like that. So I don't know if that was supposed to happen or if it was just really bad plot twist. So yeah. Okay, so I'm still about like this much left to finishing Throne of Glass. This scene that just happened. So in this book, there is two very obvious love interests to our main character, Kalina. By the way, I'm definitely only rooting for one. That is Kale, my guy. Okay, the scene that just happened in page 348, like, oh my god, it's a if you know, you know, it's about him giving the sword to Kalina. Okay, it's like my heart. Okay, I can't. I don't know if I'm the minority in this situation where I'm rooting for Kale more than I'm rooting for Dorian, but their chemistry and the way he tries his best to tell himself that he doesn't trust her and that she's this dangerous girl, but deep inside he's like so totally in love with her. It's just it's too good. Honestly, the chemistry between Kale and Kalina, too freaking good. Don't get me wrong, Dorian is like charming and all, but it's honestly like okay, I'm currently rewatching The Vampire Diaries, so this is like the first thing that came to mind between these two love interests, but like it's giving Stefan and Damon right now, where you know at the moment who she currently is obviously more attracted to, but I cannot for the life of me guess who she's actually gonna end up with. I'm so hoping it's gonna be Kale because like he's like such a like you know the kind of guy that tries to repress his feelings towards the girl, but he's so obviously like so down bad for her, and I am such a sucker for that. Like the romance that is happening right now, this like final battle scene is crazy. So yeah, I still have quite a bit to go through. I don't know why I'm reading so slowly, but I'll finish this soon and I'll come back with you guys with my thoughts on the book as a whole. So yeah, that's just the update for now. Okay, so now I think we're about 2 hours into the readathon. I did receive a package just now and had to open it and try a few stuff. So I think tomorrow I will extend the readathon to about 10 a.m. just to kind of make up for the time that I did miss just now for reading. But I managed to finish Throne of Glass. I think I am definitely intrigued enough to continue this series and to see where the story goes and to read the rest of the book, and hopefully the rest of the book won't be disappointing. I do hear that people say the plot will pick up at Era of Fire, I think, which is the fourth book. For this book, the ratings that I think I would give it is 3.75 ish. The reason why is because I thought that we would delve into each of the competitions and each of the tournaments more deeply. Like, I thought we would get more of an in-depth scene on those, kind of like what we got in Fourth Wing. But if anything, I feel like we kind of glazed over some of the scenes at times, and it's a big part of the plot, but at the same time, there are not that many scenes of it. Like, we would read like 1 or 2 pages of each tournaments each day, and that's it. So yeah, I just kind of expected more of that, but it's okay. I think that this book, what I have discovered while reading this, is I think that it is more of a character driven book compared to a plot driven book. I think it's more of a character study. It's more of an introduction for us readers into the characters of this series and the chemistries that they have with each other and the friendship that they have with each other. Like, we would get a lot of scenes of just conversations between Kalena and other characters in the garden or in the gaming room or just in her room. And honestly, if I have to say so myself, it does get boring at times with those scenes that I'm like, okay, we kind of need to get to the more fun stuff. Can we stop with like the conversations now and stop with this like dilly dallying? But I do feel like it is, I suppose, somewhat important for the character building for each of the characters. So I can still accept that. And, I am very much a character person. I can accept less plot, but I cannot accept if I cannot connect to the characters. So I think it's more fine with me. But if you are more of like a high fantasy, more of a plot driven reader, I think this book will not do it for you. Again, I do hear a lot of people say that the first book is a bit slow, and it is kind of slow-ish pace, but it will pick up on the other books. So that is what I'm hoping for the rest of this series. I do hope that it picks up, and I do hope that it will be a great and epic series to read. So that is the read. I honestly, it took me a lot longer than I expected to finish that book. I expected like 1 hour tops, but it's 1 o'clock now, almost 1 o'clock. And that is like a lot of time. So we need to move on to the next book. So I'm thinking I should read romance next because I kind of want to keep the thrillers to the end of the night, like through the 2 a.m., 3 a.m. timing, because I do feel like I would be getting more sleepy and more crazy at that timing. So I do need a book to keep me awake, and I feel like romance is just not gonna do it. So I will keep romance throughout the more earlier parts of this readathon. So I'm thinking I should pick You've Reached Sam next. I do hear that this book is supposed to be very sad, so I'm a little bit scared to go into it. But my sister did read this book before, and she said that it's not as sad as she expected it to be, so I think it should be fine for me to pick up. I just think that it's like quite a short book, so I think it's a good kind of breaker between, after reading a fantasy and now I should just, pick up a romance next. So that is what I'm going to pick up next. It's You've Reached Sam, and let's get into reading this. Okay, whoever said this book is not gonna make you cry is a big fat liar, because what do you mean? Like, I am literally 3 chapters in. Like, I'm 3 chapters in, and I've already cried for like 2 scenes in this book. It's honestly okay. I expected this book wrong. This book is not a romance at all, at least so far. It's more of a fiction. It's a book that is depicting somebody's grief, somebody going through grief. Because at the start of this book, we get glimpses of Julie's relationship with Sam, and we saw that he ended up dying, and like she's going through all of this grief, and it's just really hard. It's really hard to read, and yeah, okay. I'm not gonna cry. It's fine. It's a fiction book. Okay, but it's really emotional, if I have to say so myself. And I don't know if it's because I'm just a really emotional bitch and a crybaby, but 3 chapters in, I'm already crying. So that's great progress, I would say. So yeah, that is all of the updates that I can give on this book so far. And yeah, I'll see you guys, I guess, once I start crying again, and that should be soon. So yeah. Okay, so now I'm at about, like, I'd say a third way through the book, and my butt is starting to hurt from sitting on the bed. So I decided that I'm going to switch out to the audiobook, which I'm going to find through Libby. Okay, I know technically for some people audiobook is cheating, but honestly, I have a lot of things to pack right now since I'm gonna be going back home in 2 weeks. And this room, I know you can't see right now, but this room is a mess. And I need to like pack some stuff, so I thought it'd be great to just pop on my headphone and listen to the audiobook for just a little bit. And actually, yeah, I found it on Libby, so I can listen to it then, and I'll give you guys updates once I have more things to talk about, or once I finish the book, I suppose. Okay, like I need a moment, because I just finished this book, and how do I even begin to describe this book and what of an emotional roller coaster it had just put me through, honestly. This book is basically, I would say I can describe it as a literary fiction. It's a book describing the depiction of grief and somebody going through grief, and like just, stages of grief in general. And in this case, it is through our main character, Julie, as she goes through the grief of losing her boyfriend. If you know the plot to the book, you know what happens in the book. I think that while reading this book, I honestly genuinely cried so many times. I think it was like 10 times that I cried throughout reading this book. It just really, really made me appreciate the people that I have in my life, and appreciate the moments that I'm living through right now, because this is something that I've been really trying very hard to do lately, is to just live in a moment. And no matter how many times you plan out your future, no matter how many times you daydream about this ideal future that you want to have, you really never know, what could happen in the future, what could happen literally the next second right now. So it really makes me really grateful to just be able to live here, and have the people that I love being around me, and just not taking that for granted. And there was something one of the characters said that I think really, really stuck with me. It was one of the character named Yuki. It was on their trip back to Seattle, when she said to Julie about how moving on from Sam's death, it's not about forgetting him altogether. It's not about forgetting the memories that she made with him, because in the end of the day, Sam was a part of her life, and a big part of her life at that. It's not about forgetting him. Moving on is not about putting memories of him away and never looking back at it again. It's about moving on with your life and thinking back to him from time to time, thinking about those fond memories that you have with him from time to time. And that way, he basically lives through you. And I think that was such a line that just really felt like it hits home, you know? Dealing with grief, I think is it's a very hard topic to talk about, because it's really such an individual and personal thing. Like, everybody goes through grief differently, everybody experiences grief and moves on differently. And I think that this book is just like one version of one person going through grief. And I think that it's an interesting read at the end of the day, in my opinion. But I do feel like it lacks a bit of closure in the end. Like, we got the closure, but at the same time, I feel like we kind of didn't. I don't really know how to explain it, but I feel like I would have wanted Julie to move on in a different way. But I think that, as I said, it's such a personal experience that you can't really say what moving on really looks like for everybody, because it's not a general thing, it's an individual thing. But I do feel like I would have wanted a little bit more closure from Julie personally. But yeah, I think it's a great book to read in one sitting. I'm so glad that I decided to read this book for this 24-hour readathon, because I feel like you kind of almost have to read this in one sitting. I feel like if I would have put this book down and picked it up again tomorrow, it wouldn't have felt the same. Like, the scenes, you just have to read it continuously without putting it down. And it's very short. I read this for like 4 hours, which is actually longer than I expected, but like, it's quite a short book and you can definitely read this in one sitting. I think if you can, you should. It really creates, like, it really puts you in their world, and it really lets you connect with their characters so well. And I feel like it's great to read in one sitting. It's just really hard to move on from it. Like, I feel like I'm like an emotional wreckage now, and I don't really know how am I supposed to read another book after this. But yeah, a really great book to read in one sitting. I would definitely recommend that. For reading, I honestly don't know. I think I would give it about like 4 stars, I would say. Yeah, it's just like, it's a really hard book. I think if you're going through a lot of stuff right now, I wouldn't suggest you to pick up this book, because again, it's a very, very emotional book. And especially if you're going through grief, I think it can either be really bad for you or it can help you a lot. But I feel like with the plot of this book, it might not be so great if you're currently going through grief. And also, one of the things I do feel like, some of the relationship problems that are happening in this book between Julie and some of the other characters, I would have liked that to be resolved in a different way, instead of through Sam himself, but it's through Julie. Like, I would have liked to see that more. But it's still a great book to read. I think it's still an interesting read for me personally. So if you like reading something like just a fiction of grief, then you should pick up the book. I think it would be fine. Again, it's a pretty short book, so you're not really wasting so much time reading it. But yeah, that is all I have to say about You've Reached Sam. Whoever said it didn't make you cry, I don't know if you're like numb or just, I don't know how, but I cried so many times reading this book. And now I have to pick a next read, and I don't even know where to start. I think I would go with thriller after this, just because I feel like I need to. I cannot even read romance right now or anything. So I think a thriller would be a great read. After this, I might pick up Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I'm not so sure. I'll update you guys once I have my next read. And yeah, that is all I have to say about You've Reached Sam. Let's get on to the next read. Okay, so I just took a shower, hence the change of outfit now. And don't mind me if I'm like really whispering right now because everybody in this house is sleeping at the moment and I don't want to make too much sound and wake everybody up. So I'm here right now with my second cup of coffee of the day, the night for this video. Anyway, I'm honestly starting to feel the sleepiness coming right now, so that's why I decided to grab another cup of coffee to keep me awake. And I think it's somewhat working right now. Coffee doesn't really usually work for me anymore. Anyways, it's doing what it can for the moment, and hopefully by 3 a.m. I'm not a walking zombie just reading text on a book. So I decided to pick up Never Lie by Freida McFadden anyways, and so far it's going so good. I'm only like about 5 chapters in now. So far, I think the setting is quite interesting. It's really giving Rock Paper Scissor by Alice Feeney, which I really liked. It's basically a thriller taking place in a secluded house in the middle of a winter storm. Wait, winter storm? Snowstorm. Yes, snowstorm. So I think that is a really interesting setting for a mystery thriller. So far, I'm not yet sure where the story is going exactly, but it's obviously going to be about murder mystery. See what happens. Not really a murder mystery, it's just like a mystery to see what happens to this psychiatrist named Adrian. So we're kind of seeing like multiple different point of views from present and past between our main character Trisha and this psychiatrist who supposedly went missing a couple of years back. So that is what is going on so far. It's currently quite interesting. I've only ever read one other book from Freida McFadden, and that was The Housemaid, which was really highly rated by a lot of people. And if I'm gonna be quite honest, that book kind of disappointed me. Like, it was below expectation, if I would say. And I'm hoping better results for this book. Just trying to give this author another chance. It wasn't that the other book was bad, but it just wasn't as good as I expected it to be. And I kind of basically predicted the plot twist, so that was not good. Hopefully it will be different from this book, and hopefully this book will wow me more. I think I've heard pretty good things about this book as well, but we'll see, I guess. Yeah, that's all the update that I have for now. I'll see you guys deeper into the sleep deprivation and deeper into this 24-hour readathon, and I'll give you guys some more updates and my thoughts on this book once I get more into it. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm low-key starting to regret doing this all together. It's currently like 3 a.m. and I'm trying to be really quiet, but I finished Never Lie by Freida McFadden, and honestly, I'm actually not that tired. Like, I did feel a little bit tired around like the 11 p.m. mark, but now I think the adrenaline has kind of kicked in from the sleep deprivation and I'm not that tired anymore. If anything, I'm kind of like quite awake right now. But anyways, I finished the book and honestly, I have to say I'm quite impressed. Definitely, like, after the disappointment that The Housemaid was, for me anyways, personal opinions, this book greatly surprised me, you know? It surprised me really. I did not guess the plot twist, and to tell you, there is like, what, 10 plot twists in this one book. It's kind of crazy, but I think that it's honestly an entertaining read for me having to read this at like the crack of 3 a.m., the crack of dawn. Like, dawn, is it considered dawn? Anyways, it's really entertaining. It kept me flipping the pages and I'm like, okay, I just need to know like what happens. So it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of like a murder mystery. I did have a few guesses in my head. None of them were correct. But I've always been pretty bad at guessing plot twists in murder mysteries, so if I'm able to guess it, means it's not a good book. But I didn't guess any of them. It's like, yeah, it's pretty good. I'd have to say, like, I'm impressed, you know? And honestly, after reading this book, my faith in humanity, zero, gone. Honestly, everybody's a fucking psychopath in this book. Like, I can't even lie. Everybody's just a psychopath. Yeah. Anyways, that is Never Lie by Freida McFadden. Pretty good. I honestly, I'm like so way into my sleep deprivation right now. I don't even have words at the top of my head that I can say to give you a proper review on this book, other than I didn't guess any of the twists. It was an entertaining read. I'm not gonna lie, the characters can get a bit annoying, but the character is good enough that I wanted to keep reading. And low key, yeah, I can't say it. I can't say it without spoiling the book. But if you read The Housemaid and you didn't like it, and you know, thought that maybe the author is just not for you, try this book, Never Lie. It's pretty good. I've read a lot of thrillers out. This is one of the ones that I feel like is pretty decent. And again, the setting, the isolated house, no way to get out. I think it's so perfect. It's so perfect because, like, even in dangerous situations that the character would go through, you would be like, okay, honestly, like, she just needs to get out of this house. But it's the circumstances that literally makes it impossible to get out of that house, and that makes it just the more entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time. So yes, Never Lie by Freida McFadden, totally recommended. I think I would give it 4.5 star. It's not a 5 star, but like it's like 4.5 to like 4.75. It's really close to a 5 star, but it's not really giving 5 star. So now that it's 3 a.m. and my family would start waking up soon, so I cannot be caught, you know, reading outside and having the time of my life flipping pages of book, or for my bedroom lights to be on. So I think I do want to read Rebel Witch by Kirsten Sigarelli. I think that is going to be my next read. I do have about, let's see, I think about 7 hours left, and I think that Rebel Witch would be good because that is a 400 pages book, so I think I should be able to finish it by the time the timer runs out. But again, since my family is gonna be waking up soon and I can't be making a ruckus around the house, I think I would go into the audiobook for a little bit, at least until around like 6-ish p.m. And then I would start on the actual book. I have the book on my Kindle, so I can read that at around 6-ish p.m. I would say would be a good time. So I will check in with you guys once I can start recording again. I will see you guys in my next read. I'm honestly, like, genuinely, I'm not as tired as I thought I would be, but I think it will hit me soon because I'm going to be listening to the audiobook in the dark on my bed, and I think that the sleepiness and the drowsiness is gonna hit soon. And yeah, we're gonna need some caffeine in the morning. I will figure it out. I'll just see you guys on the next update. That is all I have to say for this book. Totally recommended. Please read it if you're looking for a good mystery thriller books. Okay, 3 hours later and many long hours of audiobook later, I have made it through to about this much of the Unhoneymooners, which is a lot less than I expected. Like, it felt like a long time, okay, that I was laying in bed listening to the audiobook. Pretty entertained, I would say, but at the same time, like, really fighting back sleep. But I didn't fall asleep, very surprisingly enough. And the Unhoneymooners. Yes, I said I was going to pick The Rebel Witch, but they didn't end up having audiobooks. Hence why I decided to pick The Unhoneymooners. Really interesting pick, I would say. It's definitely a vacation read. I've read this in moments where I'm losing sleep and currently almost becoming a zombie? Probably not. Should I have read this on the beach in vacation instead? Definitely, yeah. But am I not somewhat entertained? I sure am. It's honestly a pretty funny romance story, I would have to say, which is something that I'm very glad because I was lying in bed and listening to the narrator narrating the story, and it made me smile a couple of times, made me let out a huff of laugh a couple of times as well. So, yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. It's about our main character and at her twin sister's wedding. Everybody except for her and our male character, obviously, very conveniently, everybody else got sick except for them. And they have this honeymoon booked that they absolutely cannot cancel and cannot reschedule. So they, obviously, our main character and the male guy, Ethan, has to go together. And they meet some interesting people along the way, and there's some fake dating involved, some really good banter. I would have to say, I do have to say, the banter in this book is pretty good. That is something that I love in romance books, and I think they're getting it pretty good. I have no words in my vocabulary left, but I will be continuing to read. I have about, it's like 7 a.m. right now, by the way, so I have about 3 hours left to this readathon, and I can finally go to sleep. But yeah, I have 3 hours left. I'm not sure if I will be able to finish this. I think if I hadn't have had to listen to the audiobook to it, I probably would have been able to finish this book in this readathon, but I'm not sure if I can finish it in the span of 3 hours. We will see. Maybe I will just finish this book anyways, even if it exceeds the timing of this readathon. So yeah, that is just my thoughts on The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren so far. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint. It's been one of my most anticipated romance read of a long time, actually. So, and we've pretty much tackled every genre in this readathon so far. We have literary fiction, we have thriller, we have romantasy, we have romance. So, yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next update, hopefully, once this readathon is finished. Yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you, I'm so ready for this video to be over. It's been a great readathon, if I could say so myself, but I am very sleep deprived and very tired right now. And finally, we're reaching the end of it. Albeit, it is about an hour later. So technically, I would say I've been reading for about 25 hours right now. I did end up finishing The Unhoneymooners. I had like 3 chapters left when the actual 24-hour ended. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Let me just read it, finish it, and just get it over with. And yeah, so I did finish this. When I said you should read You've Reached Sam in one sitting, this is probably not a book that you should read in one sitting, nor should you read this in a state where you are very tired and just so sleep deprived, because it's a good romance book, I can't lie. The rating that I would give this is probably 4 stars, because I'm kind of debating. I have a kind of stereotypes when it comes to contemporary romance, and I expected this to be following a kind of setup that most contemporary romance does. To an extent, it does follow a kind of setup, but there are some words exchanged in this book that is just leaving my jaws hanging open. Truth be told, in chapter 20, which is the last chapter, I feel like I don't want to see our male protagonist's face anymore. But he did kind of redeemed me in the epilogue because it was a really cute epilogue. I'm a very much an epilogue girly, and I really like that epilogue. So Christina Lauren redeemed herself. Yeah, it's a very funny book. I quite literally laughed out loud when I was reading one of the scenes, a few of the scenes actually, and when I was listening to the audiobook. The banter is great, okay? The chemistry, great. I love pining and yearning. That is like the best thing to ever be in a romance book. I love pining, and there's a lot of that in this book. So yeah, definitely. If you love pining, you love fake dating, trope, enemies to lovers, kinda, then you should pick this book up. I think that in a way, there's this kind of feeling when you're reading a romance book where it's so obvious to the reader's eyes that one of the character is obviously already interested in the other person from like the start of the book, and I can definitely feel that here with Ethan, but I still enjoyed reading it, and I still feel like the romance is worth it to read at some point. I do feel like at times it does get a bit long, and I feel like I've been reading this book for like years now. The chapters, oh my god, is there a reason for those chapters to be so long? There was like 10 pages each chapter. It's crazy. I was reading the epilogue for like, I felt like 20 pages, although I enjoyed it, but I thought, like, anyways, I have really mixed feelings. I do really like the romance, but I feel like I'm maybe just not in the correct state of mind to be reading this book and to fully appreciate this book for what it is, but I would still recommend it. It's a good book. It's just maybe if I were to have read it in a different circumstances, it would have probably rendered, my thoughts differently. Like I would probably have been having a different reaction to this book, but I do still enjoy it. So, which I have been for all of the books that I've read for this readathon, which I didn't even expect to get through 4 books. I knew my pile was really ambitious, but I was just like, okay, I still wanted to have options. I know I'm not gonna get through every one of them, but I did get through technically 3 1/4 of a book since I was already finishing Throne of Glass by the time that I was reading it. It's been really enjoyable. Enjoyable is a questionable choice of word, but it's been a pretty successful readathon. That is what I can say about this video, and I have piles of book with me. Yeah, they're great. Honestly, like I would totally recommend each and every one of the books that I've got to read in this readathon, which is amazing. And it's better than the last readathon, I would say. It's more successful. I didn't fall asleep, not once, even though I was listening to like an audiobook in the dark, laying on my bed, but I wasn't falling asleep, which is great. That is all that I have to say in this video. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this crazy roller coaster of a video, and hopefully I can do it again sometime in the future. But I've been genuinely regretting my choice of doing this readathon for 24 hours straight. I think next time if I were to do this kinds of video again, I would probably space it apart where I would be reading 12 hours on day 1 and 12 hours on day 2, which I think is a much more wiser of a choice to be doing, because this whole staying up for 24 hour things cannot have been healthy for my body, and I'm not even sure what it's honestly doing to my body. The amount of caffeine that I have in my body is like a lot right now. I'm rambling, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope we get to do this again in the future. And I will see you guys on the next video.